Call to order the City Council regular meeting for the City of Wyoming, Minnesota, April 18, 2023. Let the record reflect we do have a quorum. Member Luker, Member Onstad, Member Schilling, Member Yeager, and Mayor Iverson are present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open forum is next on our agenda. Open forum is an opportunity for members of the public to address the City Council on items that are on or are not on the current agenda. Items requiring council action may be deferred to staff or boards and commissions for research and further council agendas if appropriate. You will be limited to 3 minutes, and we ask that you conduct yourself in a professional, courteous manner and refrain from the use of profanity. Failure to abide by this policy may result in the loss of your privilege to speak. Do we have anybody here for open forum? Come on up. You're going to want to state your name and your address.
My name is Chris Ortworth. I live at 25730 Gramford Avenue. My reason here tonight is to talk about city streets and my taxes. I don't have a problem with paying my taxes, but I want to know what I'm paying for. I've been up here in Wyoming for 3 years. My taxes have gone up 11% the first year, 6% the second year, 6% the third year. And my city streets don't get plowed. I understand the city has a 2-inch minimum. Whoever came up with that is out of their mind. I've been in construction for 30 years. Snow on the road freezing causes our roads to break, causes them to damage. We're not saving money, we're spending more money. So I'm just kind of curious. I live on Gramford. I don't have city water, don't have city sewer, have my old well septic. I'm just kind of curious to know what my taxes are paying for, because I don't see nothing in my neighborhood being done. And last year when the potholes got filled, it was August. So, and right now it's becoming a safety hazard. 2 years ago when I moved up here, we had a young boy riding his bike, crashed, skinned open his knee, ended up going to the hospital, called the local PD, they came out. They were gonna run him by ambulance, but they didn't. The father came and took the child, but it's getting to the point where you see people driving down the roads now and they're swerving. There isn't lanes anymore. It's a swerve, and it's nothing against you because you're part of the public works, but we need to do something, and we need to fix these roads bad. And when they patch them, they heave them. Well, when we heave them, we don't get a good scrape for the snow season. So I've been doing snow removal. I've been a union carpenter for 25 years. Now I work for a utility for 12 years. So I know how construction works, and I know how things need to be built, how things need to be done. Now last year they took out the water gutter on the corner intersection of our intersection.
Yeah.
Hit it again this year.
Yeah.
Is it really that bad that we go out and buy flag markers to mark those? When you get a 1.5-foot snowplow, these guys can't see those when they're buried. So why can't we put markers out there? The cost to hire PSC, which XL uses a lot, is expensive. And do we have a staff good enough to repair these things ourselves to save the people of Wyoming a little bit more money? And that was basically all I had.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate that. Let me just ask Mr. Linwood. Mr. Linwood is extremely good about, if you were to call him or email him or even just come in, to be able to kind of go through some of our processes and procedures. I'm sure, and I'm not answering for you, maybe you'd like to.
Sure, and I did speak with Mr. Ortworth prior to the meeting, and I'm happy to kind of talk about some of our snowplow policies, and certainly Mr. Ketting is here, and he can maybe touch on some of those. But in regards, understood in regards to the taxes, we control, we talked a little bit before the meeting about total taxes versus what the city taxes are. That's the portion that we can look at and control. But as far as you do receive that plowing, understood that you don't feel it's always substantial for what you're paying. You do receive those fire police services if you did have a fire, if you did have an emergency at your house, those police services if they were necessary. Understood you're not on, you do have a well and septic, but our residents and businesses that are on that city water and sewer, they do pay for those services. Right. So those are services that they're paying for. And Mr. Kidding, I don't know, do you want to talk at all about in regards to some of the policy? The policy is adopted by the city council as far as that, the snow policy, and really mirrors many communities in regards to that 2-inch. That's a pretty common practice across the Twin Cities Metro. So, Mr. Kidding, I don't know if you want to touch on the plowing at all?
Sure. We were out, I believe, 42 times over this past winter. I do track that information as you mentioned there during your opportunity to speak. We do have a 2-inch minimum. Wyoming does not have a bare pavement policy per se on side streets. That said, streets, East Viking, down here at Goodview, we do maintain our main roads at a little bit different standard due to speed and volume of traffic. The call-outs are made by me, and it is, we do adhere very closely to the 2 inches. Sometimes, depending on the type of situation we have, like we had a couple weeks ago, service deliveries can be delayed some, if that might be part of what you see in the morning. Yeah, we were out quite a bit over this winter, and it was a challenge. We actually did a lot of benching, pushing back operations, getting back into cul-de-sacs, try to maintain drainage. I know when we were doing that, that's when we got that catch basin over there, which a lot of that's kind of the angle where it sits, that wing grabbed it, pulled it. The one across the street's getting worked on again here too, or for the first time, I should say, this spring. But yeah, the winter is a challenge. Into the questions about potholes, we have been out since March 20th when the first asphalt plant opened. We've been out every day. We've had pretty much available aside from rain or snow. We've already put 50 ton of material down, but when you're looking across the whole city, we do have a lot of holes, which we're working on. I know he said last year it was in August. I hope it doesn't go this long again. But we start our main roads, get those with, again, the higher speeds, higher volumes, then we go off into the main, or the side streets, pardon me, to get those taken care of. I have gotten quite a few calls out of that neighborhood over by the elementary school, and we do have a list that we're gonna be moving into some of the more severe areas as soon as we can.
Yeah, and I'll just say this, you know where I live. Feel free to knock on my door and we can talk anytime, right? Feel free to do that, you know where I live.
Just don't seem right, you know?
No, you
I
can.
come here and talk. It's not a big deal. I'm
Well,
an instructor
being
for
a-
Excel. I stand in front of a classroom and talk all day.
Well, seeing that I am a servant to the city, anytime, you're more than welcome to do that. But really, any of the staff is more than happy to talk with anybody. Any of our processes on how we do budget and our 5-year and 10-year plan and that sort of thing is on the website. We've worked really hard on being transparent. But we more than welcome questions, and Mr. Linwood's happy to answer. I'm happy to do the best that I can with that. And really, it's been tough. It really has. And I think it's unfortunate that this council is the ones that have come up with the road program. There wasn't one really before us. 2014, 2015 is when we really started to have that plan, and 67 miles road, we keep increasing with the new 67 miles road,
A little more
correct?
than that now with some new development, but that's approximately correct.
So, that's a lot of roads, and pot filling, I mean, I'm hollering just as loud as you are. So, we're in the same boat, right? I'm like you. Where do you go to go around some of them? So, just know that we are listening, and we're very open to any conversation, anytime, just to help people understand where we're at.
Great.
And
Thank you.
greatly
I appreciate it.
Greatly appreciate you coming up tonight, too.
Thank
This meeting will be really short if you want to stay and.
I do. I got my 17-year-old, so
Great.
I'm trying to teach him how you go to the government and talk. 'Cause
Yeah.
we homeschool our children, so
Yeah,
to give him a little bit of an education this evening, so.
great,
thank
perfect.
you.
All right, thank you. Janine, was there anything? You're good.
I don't know if I should bring it up or not. I wanna talk again, my lawyer.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, we'll leave it at that. All right, we'll move on to number 1, approval of minutes. Consider approving the minutes of the regular meeting of the Wyoming, Minnesota City Council for April 4th, 2023. If there are no questions or comments, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by member Schilling. Do we have a second by member Onstad?
Second, yep.
Fabulous. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. The consent agenda, items under the consent agenda will be adopted with one motion. However, council members may request individual items to be pulled from the consent agenda for discussion and action if they choose. So, item number 2, 3, and 4 are on the consent agenda. Does anybody wish to pull any of the items 2, 3, or 4? Seeing none, we need a motion to approve 2, 3, and 4 on the consent agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by member Onstad. Do we have a second? Second by member Luker. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Acknowledge receipts of reports of officer boards, commissions, and department heads. Number 5, 6, 7, and 8. Does anybody wish to pull a report from the department heads? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business. We have nothing in communications or old business. New business number 9, to consider a council work session on April 24th, 2023 for street and project tour. Mr. Linwood?
Mr. Sachs.
Yep.
Mr. Sachs?
I will take that. Thank you, Madam Mayor, council members. Every year since 2017, minus 2020, I believe, due to COVID, city council and city staff take some time to complete a road and project tour. This allows us and council to take a look at current street conditions, review upcoming and current projects, and just overall conditions of some of our infrastructure. Fairview Meadows has once again been generous enough to donate a driver and a bus for the work session, and they're available on April 24th. I know seems really fast, just with the continued winter weather and just dates working out with staff and council. We're kind of getting close to the date, but April 24th works for staff that will be present at the event, so we're requesting city council set a work session for next Monday, April 24th at 5:30 for the annual road and project tour. I'll take any
Okay.
questions.
Council, have you checked your calendars, and does this work for everybody's schedule?
Works for me.
Okay,
Mrs.
everybody?
Yes.
Okay. And it's at 5:30?
Yeah, meet at City Hall at 5:30. Yep.
Okay, sounds great. We need a motion to approve the council work session on April 24th, 2023 at 5:30 for the street and project tour. Do we have a motion to approve? We have a motion to approve by member Luker. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by member Onstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Number 10, to consider a work session on May 2nd, 2023 for an update on the Wyoming Public Safety Building. Mr. Sachs or Mr. Linwood?
That would be myself, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This is another request for a council work session. This one would be on May 2nd, 2023 at 5:30. That'd be prior to our regular scheduled city council meeting. This would be a work session based on the direction that council gave staff, Wold Architects, and Kraus Anderson at our January 11th, 2023 work session. As we discussed our public safety building, we directed both Wold and Kraus Anderson to continue to look at other options to try to get the public safety building back to the original budget. So they have continued to work on that and prepared to discuss that with council and look at some potential options on that. And we'd like to give council some updates too about, we do still have the two bills in the legislature, but we'll kind of go through some of those items as well at that work session, just anything related to that building.
Okay, questions from council? Member Luker?
No questions.
Member Onstad?
No questions.
Member Schilling?
No questions.
Member Yeager?
No questions.
And I have none either. We need a motion to approve the council work session on May 2nd, 2023 for an update on the Wyoming Public Safety Building at 5:30. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion to approve by member Luker. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by member Onstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Council reports. We'll start with member Luker.
I have no reports. Thank you for attending.
All right. Member Onstad.
I have no reports. Thank you for coming out tonight.
And member Schilling.
No reports. Thank you for stopping out.
Okay, and member Yeager.
No report. Thank you for coming and thank you for watching.
It must have been a slow 2 weeks because I don't have one either. So we did have the Joint Sewer Commission lack of quorum, so we did need to cancel that. And that was really the only thing that was meetings on my agenda. EDA was canceled as well.
Yeah.
Yes, EDA was canceled,
Yeah.
yes, correct.
Okay, and then I really just wanted to give a shout out before we end to Polaris Industries for donating $5,000 to the Wyoming Police Department. Do you know what you're doing with that? Is there something specific?
500.
Oh, 500.
Yep,
Sorry,
right.
not 5 million or 5,000?
Right,
No,
yeah.
okay,
Yes,
sorry.
it was.
Wishful thinking?
Right, marked for the bike rodeo event.
Oh,
Yep,
great.
Yes, that's
Okay.
on May 20th, if I remember off the top of my head.
That's perfect. I love that event.
Yeah.
So, okay. And then also to Excel Energy for the Wyoming, to the Wyoming EDA for $1,000. And Mr. Linwood, do you want to just talk about that really great and how important that is?
Sure. We have, the Wyoming EDA has continued, as I gave a brief summation to council, but the Wyoming EDA worked on at the end of last year an RFP for a downtown study, or area study to really kind of look at the downtown corridor and really look at some different ideas and needs, and really kind of that urban planning, the engineering and the engagement possibilities that we could do there to really have a flourishing downtown in that area. So we received 3 proposals for that. After deliberation, the Wyoming EDA selected MSA to do that proposal for the downtown plan. I have reached out and solicited to a few different entities, Excel Energy being one of them, and they were gracious enough to give us $1,000 towards the study. We also will have an upcoming agenda. The Chisago County HRA EDA also donated $5,000 to the study, and we are waiting to hear back from the Initiative Foundation, but that request was also for $5,000. But I do have a good indication that we will receive that as well. So, but I think it'll be fun. We'll probably be looking at having a kickoff meeting with that consultant, hopefully at the May EDA meeting.
Yeah, great. It's wonderful that we have business partners within our community that helps with events and stuff. So I, again, wanted to thank Polaris and also Excel Energy for their donation. So with that, we will, I said we'd go till 8. Is there anything else anybody wants to discuss? All right. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in